happy, and productive Tuesday I hope you're having. Hello, everybody. My name is Mauricio Garcia. Excited as always for the opportunity I have to have yet another podcast episode here of the Conquistador Podcast with none other than my friend, mentor, the legendary Hubert Humphrey. Hubert, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be with everybody.
Awesome. Hey, yesterday I really enjoyed the podcast, taking us through, basically letting people know who you are, what you've done, and even though I kind of know the story, I appreciate the fact that you went that deep yesterday, and I'm sure people also liked it. But we left one part out, which is what we're doing today. And I know today, you're building this company that has the name of HEGEMON Group International, also known as HGI. And well, let's continue on that. Because everything you've done in the past up until now has been a preparation, has been practice maybe to this for the biggest ever company you built in your lifetime. So the question I have is, what is HGI and what problem is it trying to solve, to kind of kick off the conversation here? How is it going to make the world a better place?
Well, that's the key. We want, everything we do, we want to be able to make sure we're making the world a better place. The word hegemon comes from our study of Alexander the Great. His father Philip, his Greek name was hegemon, meaning imperial dominance, to dominate. So hegemon, since we want to dominate, we want to be the dominant force. That's why we chose this name, HEGEMON Group International. And so by virtue of that, we're wanting to go out there and we were kind of copying Alexander the Great. Alexander, if he were alive today, he'd probably practice the principles we're practicing. I think the model of HGI is what Alexander would probably have chosen to do. And his motto was, his father wanted to conquer the world and own it. He wanted to conquer the world and make it Greek. He wanted to conquer the world by conquering the hearts of men. And so we've taken that model, which is a unique model, and really have tried to let that be our business philosophy through most of my A.L. Williams career, building WMA, and today we're out looking to build these modern day Alexanders who want to conquer their future, who want to do good for people, who have a noble cause, not just to make money, but to make a difference. In fact, one of the things that was a secret to all of the companies, HGI is sort of the third part of that trilogy. When we were there with Art Williams and built the first ring was, this is kind of like the Lord of the Rings movie. We're building the third ring of the trilogy. But the first ring was A.L. Williams there, and it was about, we had twin emotions, twin engines. One of the first ones, main ones, was this crusade that buy term and invest the difference, go out and help solve the insurance problem that middle America had. They were underserved. They were selling these little small cash value policies and leaving them underinsured. So we went out there now and replaced all that business with a lot of term insurance where they got 3 or 4 times the coverage for half the money, and taught them about how money worked to invest the difference. And in many cases, they were able to participate a little bit in the American economy through mutual funds, which they'd never been able to do. So that was a crusade doing good for people, educating them on how money worked and giving them tools and products and concepts to make it work. And then second to that, we also knew that one of the first things people needed to do was that they needed to find a way to make more money. And that's why we brought them a recruiting and building system that allowed brand new people who'd never been in this industry to come in and be successful. I was a great example of that. I'd never been in this industry. I didn't know anything about insurance, but I was able to come in with that little opening. So that's the same issues that we had back then, we have throughout time, and we have it today, and we're trying to solve, if you want to call them, I call them challenges, the same challenges, they're just bigger and more magnified. And as great as we've done building these previous companies, we built the second company, World Marketing Alliance, that we talked about yesterday, which is World Financial Group, Transamerica today, studying variable universal life, following the baby boomers. All those things were great. We did great jobs there. But the industry is so large, and the challenge is so great. In fact, that one of the great business philosophies that I've learned over the years is this quote, and you might want to remember this one. If the problem is big enough and the solution is big enough, you'll probably be looking at having one of the great business opportunities in history. Because just sort of think about it. If it's a big problem that everybody's got and they're looking for solutions, and you can be a part of that big solution, that's where success comes from. And that's what we were able to do. But that same problem that was big enough, it's just got bigger, because from the time we started A.L. Williams to now, there's over 100 million more people live in this country than they lived there then. So just the population increased by 100 million. Even though we did good and we helped a lot of people, there's still so much more to do. And it's so big that even after we do everything we're capable of doing in HGI, which I think will be historic, it already is, but it will become so historic. When we get through, it's still going to be a monstrous deal. That's how big this challenging problem is out there of people wanting to know how money works. You watched it. One of the things that happened to people in 2009 and 10 when the great
after the 2008
recession,
collapse,
the whole mortgage and industry meltdown from the top down on a global systemic basis. But what it was is that the people had a lack of understanding of how money worked. And a lot of people who had jobs and just had companies setting up 401ks, and they had no idea what was going on in their 401ks, and the companies that were supposed to be managing them had no clue either. And it ended up being a disaster, and most people lost 75-80% of their wealth because of that. Well, now that was a wake-up call. And now middle America is saying, listen, I want to learn how money works. I'm no longer going to sit there and let somebody else blindly so-called manage or mismanage my money. I don't have a clue where it's going. So that big problem now is that we're trying to educate people on how money works, and we're also trying to educate them on how to be an entrepreneur and go into business and simplify it. And that's the two things that we find that they won't, right? There's an overwhelming demand for that right now, and that's the challenges we're trying to solve.
This is how I see it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do see from, let's say, the baby boomers and their parents, the seniors, right? People are living longer, and so they need their monies to last longer. You got the baby boomers who went through a bust at the beginning of the 21st century. And then with the whole mortgage, real estate meltdown and the pandemic, right? They've been playing this recovery. They've just been trying to recover money lost. And they still have the same challenge as their parents, which is longevity risk. And then you've got the Gen Xers who are, the salaries are just stagnant. There hasn't been real increases in salaries if you really look at it. And then you got the millennials who have buried in debt. So there's I can see when you say the problem has just got so much bigger, that creates the most amazing opportunity ever in history in the financial industry.
Oh, it is.
What did I miss from that picture? Because that's how I see it. And
Well, you describe what's happening out there, and if you to simplify it, even back when we started some 40 years ago in A.L. Williams, we knew that the baby boomers who were 20 to 34, their problem was that they were going to die too if they died too soon. They had to cover that with term insurance. That created us a great opening. But then the other issue on the back end, which we're out here now seeing, is that what happens if they live too long and they're not self-insured, and that's the second phase of it, and they run out of money. They keep living after they've run out of what little bit of retirement they've built up, and most of them don't even have any retirement money. But the ones that do, it doesn't last long enough because they're living a long time. The good news is that we're living a long time. The bad news is that most of them wish that they were dead because they don't have any money. Hey,
right.
Guy says, I got all the money I need as long as I don't want to go anywhere, as long as I don't get sick, as long as I don't dream anymore, as long as I don't do anything, I got plenty of money. Well, that's not the kind of life we want to have. So we got to prepare for the new reality of longevity. We need to sell a dream that matches longevity, and that's what we're doing here in HDI. That's one of the things we want to do. We want to build them a business that'll last forever. See, I mean, I'm a good example of it. I'm not only am I building a new business, I'm still reaping the harvest off of the previous businesses that I built years ago, back when I was out in the field and selling myself and had building teams who sold it. I'm still getting renewals and stuff off of those businesses years later. That when you're out there 60, 70, 80 years old, you instead of waiting on a Social Security check or something, how about a renewal check from businesses that you've built over the years? How about some residual income off money you've had under management? How about a business that keeps paying you commissions every morning with new current business because you don't have to retire? There's no age restrictions. You can be 80 or 90 overriding these things. Virginia Carter died just short of 90 years old, still overriding, making $1 million a year from her A.L. Williams business back in the day. She was one of the original 7. That's we got the greatest retirement program in the world.
That's unheard of. You know, when you talk about because there's a lot of opportunities or so-called great opportunities out there that sell on the residual income dream, and nothing can match the residuals of the financial industry. I just look at when somebody starts a retirement account, when somebody starts investing, or even somebody gets a mortgage. I mean, these are products that people keep for decades when they got insurance, or they keep them not just for 18 months, but they keep them for many, many, many years. And so that's where the residuals come from. Yeah. And so this is when I looked at this thing and I looked at other stuff out there, there's no comparison. I
know the difference. I was in Amway for 7 or 8 years. I've looked at all the networking, multi-level. I know what goes on in all phases of all industries, and I know that selling the small ticket items, the lotions and potions, and the hot item of the day, and all that, those are fine and nice, but there's no longevity to it. And there's no longevity to the building of the organizations because there's not enough money, not enough roots to keep them there, and they'll jump into 10 more deals, and you won't be overriding. Here, you go look at our business. We've got guys that were recruited 40 years ago, still in the same company doing business today and paying money. We got guys that were in the second one, they're still in it. They get in for a lifetime, guys. Not all of them, but enough of them to where you've got a business that lasts you a lifetime. You cannot outlive the magnitude of the opportunities that we have built in financial services to keep paying you if you've put out the effort along the way.
That makes sense. Absolutely. So going back to the original question to start wrapping this episode up is, what is HCI and what the problem solves? The way I look at it, after you describe the problem, right? One of it is people want to know how money works. They're tired of losing the money, right? They really now want to, take the things in their own hands here when it comes to the finances. And on the other side, we have inflation, cost of everything tripling and quadrupling, and average salaries stagnant. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. We're not only providing the financial education, but also people make some serious amounts of money while doing that at the same time. Is that a good way to describe it in a nutshell?
Absolutely, it is. It is, and I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you how fertile the ground is out there. How ripe the market is for recruiting. I saw some statistics here last week. In the month of April of this year, April of 2021, in the service sector, meaning the people that are making the hourly wages and working at the restaurants and the McDonald's and the hotels and the this and that, 680 million people voluntarily resign. They quit their jobs for the reason that they just don't want to do those service jobs no more. They're going to go out there and find something. They know there's something better.
Wow.
We're that something better. But they're looking for something better to go out and get them something where they can take some technology job or something and work with some company from home or some new career. They just don't want to go out there, and they just don't think their life is worth going out there wasting 10, 15 years at minimum wage. And they're quitting. They're quitting and just saying, listen, I'll just do without for a while, but because I can find one of these other more modern jobs that'll let me work from home. And because right now, as you know, right now, one of the biggest challenges that most people in business have right now is they don't have enough people. Airlines don't have enough people working for the airlines to take care of this holiday rush. I mean, everybody's short on people. The reason why is America's sick and tired of just working for a living and taking what they're given. They're wanting more. So this is a fertile moment in history of history. But we just got to make sure these people see what we're doing and give us a chance along with these other opportunities.
I love it. I'd love to end it that way, really. So if you are looking for a good opportunity, and I would say the best opportunity in America today, go to HGIopportunity.com. You just have to take the time to go check it out, because it is something that can literally change your life forever. So again, it's very easy to remember. Website is HGIopportunity.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we always leave a link right in the description. If you are on the podcast, if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify or Google Podcasts, I think there's also a link that we'll put in there. But if not, go to HGIopportunity.com and hear what this opportunity is all about. Get involved, get close to the fire here, get aligned here with Hubert Humphrey, the system, and let's help the world become a better place by teaching people how money really works, and in the process get compensated very handsomely in return. So with that being said, hey, I invite you to not miss tomorrow's podcast. We're going to talk about what has been the secret formula to building huge companies over the last 4 decades by no other than Hubert Humphrey himself. So Hubert, thank you for adding all the value in these podcasts every single day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Bye.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.